He stares at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wide awake. His chest tightens not from fear, but from the weight of wasted time. The promises he broke, the goals he never started. No one's yelling at him, no one's watching. But inside a silent voice whispers, "You're not who you said you'd be." That voice, it doesn't go away. It grows louder when you scroll through your life and see a stranger in the mirror. What if I told you, 20 years ago, warriors learned how to silence that voice, not by ignoring it, but by answering it with action? These warriors weren't born on battlefields. They were forged in thought, in philosophy, in fire, in failure. They followed a path that demanded discipline, courage, and brutal honesty. That path was Stoicism. But don't mistake it for cold indifference or empty theory. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about owning them, mastering them, and through that mastery, unlocking a strength so steady the world can't shake it. In this video, we'll walk through 12 Stoic principles that have the power to transform how you think, feel, and live immediately. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. If you're tired of being stuck, drifting, or distracted, then stay with me, because the warrior you were meant to be is waiting on the other side. You wake up already behind. Your phone lights up with chaos mails, headlines, missed calls. Before you even step out of bed, the world is pulling you in 10 different directions. And you try to wrestle it all into order. You hustle harder, plan better, optimize every second. But it never feels like enough. Because the truth is, most of life is out of your hands. The Stoics understood this long before smartphones and endless to-do lists. They saw that the key to peace isn't controlling the world, it's controlling how we respond to it. Epictetus said it best, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Let that sink in. You can't control the traffic, the weather, or that sudden layoff. You can't control what someone else thinks of you, or whether they stay or walk away. But you can control what you tell yourself in the middle of it all. You can control your breath, your actions, your mindset. This isn't passive acceptance, it's radical ownership. It's the discipline of asking one powerful question in every storm. Is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, take full responsibility. No excuses, no blame, just action. This mindset doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. And that shift alone can change everything. Imagine the emotional energy you'll reclaim when you stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight. When you stop giving power to people, situations, and opinions that were never in your domain. Now that energy goes inward, toward building yourself, your response, your resolve. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and soldier, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So next time the chaos hits and it will ask the question, then choose, not out of panic, not out of fear, but from a place of calm conviction. This is mine, that is not, and I will master what belongs to me. You had a plan, a clear path. Then life laughed and threw a wall in your face. A rejection, a failure, a betrayal. Everything stops. You feel stuck, angry, maybe even ashamed. And that voice returns, "Why me?" The Stoics would ask a better question, "What now?" To them, obstacles weren't roadblocks. They were raw material, fuel, firewood for the soul. Marcus Aurelius, writing not as a philosopher in leisure, but as an emperor at war, declared, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let that hit. What stops you also shapes you. That job you didn't get, maybe it led you to build something of your own. That heartbreak, maybe it forced you to confront who you are when no one's watching. That failure, maybe it stripped away the illusion and showed you your real limits and your real potential. You see, we're trained to run from pain, to numb it, avoid it, blame someone for it. But the Stoics flipped the script. They leaned in, they asked, "What is this here to teach me?" It's not about sugarcoating the hurt. It's about mining it, finding the hidden weapon buried inside. Because pain is honest. It shows you where the work is, where you still need to grow, where you're still too fragile, too afraid, too reactive. But when you face it, truly face it, you don't just survive, you evolve. Modern psychology echoes this. Carl Jung wrote, "What you resist persists, but what you integrate, that becomes strength." So the next time something slams into your life and knocks the wind out of you, stop, breathe, look the obstacle in the eye and say, "You're not the end, you're the invitation, you're the path." Because the Stoic doesn't ask for an easier life. He becomes someone harder to break. Your mind is a time traveler. One moment it's reliving a mistake from 5 years ago. The next, it's spinning in anxiety over a future that hasn't happened. Meanwhile, real life is happening right here, and you're not in it. This isn't just a bad habit, it's a mental prison. And the Stoics knew it well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." Because the present isn't just a nice idea, it's the only place where life actually happens, where love lives, where choices are made, where change begins. But why is it so hard to stay here? Because being present means facing what is not what you wish had happened or what you're afraid might come. It means standing still in your own skin with nowhere to hide. And yet, that's where your power is. The past, you can't fix it. The future, you can't guarantee it. But this moment, you can own it. The Stoics taught presence not as a spiritual luxury, but as a survival skill. To be present is to reclaim your mind from distraction, to pull your attention out of the storm and into the steering wheel. So, how do you practice this? You start by noticing. When you eat, taste it. When someone speaks, listen. When you're walking, feel the ground beneath your feet. These aren't just mindfulness cliches, they're resistance training for your awareness. Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." He didn't say ignore the future. He said don't worship it. Because when you worship the future, you sacrifice the now. And when you cling to the past, you bleed out in memories. The Stoic lives in the present not because it's easy, but because it's the only place he can move, act, breathe, choose. So ask yourself, where are you, really? If your mind is everywhere else, then life is passing by without you in it. Come back. This breath, this choice, this moment, that's where life is. The word discipline makes most people flinch. They picture harsh routines, joyless repetition, a life without spontaneity. But that's not discipline. That's punishment. And Stoicism was never about punishment. It was about power. True discipline isn't chains. It's a sword. It's what cuts through the noise, the cravings, the excuses. It's not about doing what you hate. It's about doing what matters, especially when you don't feel like it. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Discipline is that power in action. It's saying no to what weakens you, so you can say yes to what strengthens you, even when no one's watching, even when it hurts. especially then. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your habits. Discipline is the bridge between the two. Think about it. You want to change your life? Start by mastering your morning. You want clarity? Put down your phone and sit with your thoughts. You want respect from others, from yourself? Do what you said you would do. Epictetus warned, "No great thing is created suddenly." Discipline is about consistency over intensity. Small wins, daily choices. Not chasing perfection, but refusing to quit. It's not glamorous. No one applauds when you say no to instant pleasure. No one claps when you wake up early to build the future. But the Stoic doesn't train for applause. He trains for freedom. Because discipline is freedom. Freedom from addiction. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from being a slave to impulse. So here's the truth. You will not drift into greatness. You will not stumble into peace. You must choose it on purpose, with effort, again and again. And the more you choose it, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, what once felt like sacrifice feels like strength. Discipline isn't the cage. It's the key. Use it. You feel it rising tight chest, racing thoughts, the urge to lash out or shut down, anger, fear, shame. These emotions hit like waves, sudden and strong. And in that moment you think, I can't handle this. But the Stoics would say, yes, you can. Not by pretending the emotion isn't real, but by refusing to be ruled by it. Emotional resilience isn't about being cold. It's about staying calm in the heat. It's not about suppression. It's about self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that includes power over your emotional storms. The Stoic doesn't deny the feeling. He acknowledges it. He lets it pass through, not overtake him. So, how do you build this strength? First, awareness. You must know what you're feeling before you can choose how to respond. Instead of, I'm fine, say, I'm angry. Name it, claim it, then own your next move. Second, space. Between stimulus and response is a gap. Most people fill it with reaction. The Stoic fills it with breath, with reflection, with restraint. Third, direction. Ask yourself, what action aligns with who I want to be? Not what feels good now, but what serves the person you're becoming. Seneca called life's trials tests of character. They don't just reveal your strength. They build it if you stay conscious. Think of emotions like weather. You don't curse the rain. You bring an umbrella. You don't fight the storm. You prepare your mind to walk through it. Carl Jung said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. And your emotions? They're not chains. They're signals. You're allowed to feel everything. But you don't have to follow everything. You don't have to obey your fear. You don't have to bow to your anger. The Stoic feels deeply, but stands firmly. He lets the wave crash, and then keeps walking. That's resilience. Not the absence of emotion, but the presence of control. You live like time is infinite. Like you can delay your dreams, your healing, your truth. Because there's always tomorrow. But what if there isn't? The Stoics faced this question head-on. They didn't flinch. They embraced it. Memento mori. Remember you will die. Not to frighten you. To wake you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. It's not morbid, it's liberating. Because when you face death honestly, you stop wasting time pretending you're invincible. You stop living on autopilot. You start choosing with urgency, with clarity, with truth. Think about it. How many days have you lost to distraction? How many moments have you numbed with comfort instead of creating change? You say you'll call your father tomorrow. You'll start the book next month. You'll fix your life soon. But the Stoic knows soon is a lie. Death is not a threat. It's a compass. It points us back to what matters. Seneca warned us not to die while our lives are still undone. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." So ask yourself, if this were your last week alive, would you still scroll past your purpose? Would you still numb your soul for another cheap distraction? Or would you speak the words you've held back? Would you rise earlier? Love harder? Live now? Memento Mori doesn't tell you to fear death. It tells you to respect life. It reminds you, you don't get to control how long you live, but you do control how fully you live. So stop waiting. Don't just plan your life, live it. Don't just dream, do. And when death finally knocks, let it find you wide awake, doing what mattered, with nothing left unsaid. It's easy to focus on what's missing, the job you didn't get, the love that walked away, the life you thought you'd have by now. You scroll, compare, crave, and slowly, quietly you forget what you already have. The Stoics knew this trap, and they had a weapon to fight it: gratitude. Not as a feel-good exercise, but as a fierce, daily discipline. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." He wasn't being poetic. He was giving himself armor. Because without gratitude, the human mind rots in entitlement. It starts believing the world owes it something. And from there, misery is guaranteed. Gratitude is rebellion. It refuses to let external lack erase internal wealth. Seneca warned, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Gratitude breaks that craving. It shifts your gaze from what's gone to what's still here. But here's the hard truth. Gratitude takes effort. It's not automatic, especially in pain, especially when life feels unfair. But that's when it matters most. When you're in the storm, gratitude becomes your anchor. It doesn't deny the chaos. It says, "Even here, I still have something to hold." So how do you practice it? Start small. Name 3 things each day. Not generic fluff, real specifics. A voice that calms you. A moment of quiet. The breath in your lungs. The more you notice, the more you reclaim. Modern science agrees. Gratitude rewires the brain, boosts resilience, reduces anxiety. Not because it changes your life, but because it changes how you see your life. The Stoic doesn't wait for perfect conditions to feel thankful. He chooses gratitude in spite of the imperfection. Because when you're grateful for little, you're never empty. You're always full. And that kind of fullness, the world can't take it from you. Most people chase success, fame, money, recognition. But the Stoics chased something deeper: excellence, not measured by trophies or titles, but by the kind of human being you're becoming. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's the challenge. Not to impress others, but to align with your own highest standard. This is the path of arete, a Greek concept of living with full virtue, full character. It's not about being better than others. It's about being better than your former self. The world will always tempt you to lower your standards, to cut corners, to compromise who you are for what you want now. But the Stoic stands firm. He doesn't bend to the mood of the moment. He answers to something higher, his own inner code. Seneca urged self-improvement as a moral duty. He didn't separate philosophy from life. He lived what he believed. He wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Personal excellence means waking up each day with a question: am I acting in alignment with my values? Not someone else's values, not the algorithm's definition of worth. Yours. It means holding yourself to a quiet integrity when no one's watching, when no one's applauding. It means effort over ease, growth over comfort, truth over image. Aristotle wrote, "Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. You don't stumble into greatness. You build it, choice by choice, standard by standard." So stop asking, "Am I winning?" Ask, "Am I aligned?" Ask, "Would my highest self respect this version of me?" Because the Stoic doesn't chase the world. He shapes himself, then lets the world adjust. And that's the kind of excellence no one can fake, no one can take, and no one can stop. You post something, then wait for likes, comments, affirmation. You tell yourself you don't care what people think, but deep down, you do. Because you've been trained to measure your value by the echo of applause. The Stoics saw this trap long before social media. They warned, if you live by the approval of others, you die by their silence. Marcus Aurelius said it plainly. Why do you value others' opinions more than your own? That question cuts deep, because most of us have forgotten how to validate ourselves. We seek worth in numbers, followers, salaries, compliments, but numbers fluctuate. Your worth doesn't. Epictetus taught that freedom begins where dependence ends. He said, if you want to be free, stop caring about what others think, not because their opinions don't exist, but because they're not yours to control. So how do you build inner worth? Start with self-honesty. Ask, whose life am I really living? Are you chasing goals that reflect your values or someone else's? Then, practice authenticity. Not the curated version of you. The real, you, flawed, unfinished, evolving. When you show up as you are, you stop needing masks to be loved. Finally, cultivate self-respect. You earn it not by being perfect, but by being consistent. By doing what you said you'd do. By standing for what you believe in even when it's unpopular. Because here's the paradox. The more you need validation, the less powerful you become. The more you act from alignment, the more unshakable you grow. Seneca put it best. A man who is content to be only what he is, and to live only as he is, requires no adornment. So stop outsourcing your worth. Reclaim it. Own it. Let the world see a soul that no longer asks, am I enough? Because it already knows the answer. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to wake up. You crave stability. A plan, a promise, a path that doesn't shift beneath your feet. But life doesn't care about your script. It rewrites the story mid-sentence. People leave, jobs end, dreams collapse. And suddenly, you're standing in ruins asking, why is everything falling apart? The Stoics would answer, because everything is supposed to change. Marcus Aurelius wrote, accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny for what could more aptly fit your needs. It's not resignation, it's recognition that life is movement. That clinging is suffering. We're taught to chase control, to lock life into place. But change doesn't ask permission. It arrives unannounced and unmoved by your resistance. The Stoics saw this not as a threat, but a teacher. Change is the forge. It burns away illusion. It shows you what's real and what was never yours to hold. Seneca warned, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive." But it's not just death we fear. It's any shift that forces us to grow. So how do you respond? First, release the illusion of permanence. Nothing stays the same. And that's not a flaw in the system, it is the system. Second, refocus your power. You can't stop the wave, but you can learn to surf. You can't control the storm, but you can become the kind of person who navigates it. Third, reframe the narrative. Change isn't loss. It's transition. Not the end, just a new form of beginning. Epictetus taught, "It's not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them." So, interpret wisely. Don't say, "This ruined me." Say, "This revealed me." The Stoic doesn't demand life to be steady. He becomes steady in a life that isn't. So stop fighting the current. Let it teach you, shape you, move you, because change isn't the enemy. Resistance is. You've been wronged, lied to, misunderstood, ignored, and everything inside you wants to harden, to shut down, to protect yourself with distance and indifference. But here's what the Stoics understood. The strongest soul is not the one who closes, but the one who stays open anyway. Compassion is not weakness. Empathy is not surrender. They are forms of discipline, to feel for others even when they don't deserve it, to respond with kindness when your ego screams for revenge. Marcus Aurelius said, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." In other words, your life is not isolated. You are part of something greater, and when you help another human being, you elevate yourself. Seneca went further. He urged us to show understanding even to those who fail us, not to excuse harm but to recognize the shared struggle beneath it. He wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. That includes the person who hurt you, the one who let you down, the one who doesn't see you, because chances are they're carrying wounds you'll never see." The Stoic doesn't take things personally, not because he's numb, but because he sees deeper. He sees that anger is often pain in disguise, that cruelty is often fear with sharp edges, and that we are all fighting battles no one else knows. So how do you practice compassion? Start with presence. When someone speaks, listen, really listen. Don't prepare your reply. Prepare your understanding. Offer grace. Even when it's not returned. Even when it's uncomfortable. Because that's when it counts. Empathy isn't about agreeing. It's about connecting. And in a world starving for validation, true connection is sacred. Aristotle believed that friendship, the highest kind, required virtue and empathy, not convenience, not flattery, but depth. So when the world hardens, stay soft. When others withdraw, lean in, because the Stoic knows compassion isn't a sign you're losing control. It's a sign you've mastered it. You're busy, always moving, always doing. But when was the last time you stopped not to escape, but to examine, not to scroll, but to see? Because without reflection, even progress becomes pointless. The Stoics didn't just live, they reviewed how they lived. Every night, Marcus Aurelius would return to his thoughts, his actions, his flaws. Not with shame, with curiosity, with discipline. Where did I fall short? Where did I hold the line? Where can I do better tomorrow? This wasn't punishment. It was sharpening. Seneca compared life to a play and asked, "Are you acting the role you were meant to play?" That question can haunt you or save you, because reflection isn't about guilt. It's about alignment. It's not about regret. It's about course correction. Without review, you drift. You repeat the same habits. You let the urgent drown the important. But when you pause even 5 minutes a day, you reclaim control of the script. Start simple. Ask yourself at night, what did I do well today? Where did I act against my values? What will I choose differently tomorrow? Write it, speak it, sit with it. Make reflection a ritual, not a reaction. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Reflection is how we make it conscious, how we break cycles, how we become authors, not victims of our story. The Stoic doesn't fear feedback from others or from within. He seeks it, because he knows that a life examined is a life owned. So pause, not because you're behind, but because you're becoming. Breathe. Look in the mirror not just for flaws, but for truth. And ask one final question. Am I living today in a way my future self will be proud to remember? If not, adjust. If yes, continue. Always forward, always inward.